All right, CNT125 Ipv6 lab. We just left off doing our pings and traces through our network, getting successful pings and traces. The last part of the network, we're going to look at some of these packets, these Ipv6 packets in our live network. So we're going to use Wireshark, which is our protocol analyzer. This will be just like the sniffer that we had in Packet Tracer. It's going to be just like that. So we are going to, I'm just going to use the machine I'm on, which happens to be this one right here. I'm going to use this machine in my network. And I'm just going to do a Wireshark of packets that I get from the network. IP6 packets I'm going to get from the network. So again, we are right here. We did our pings. So we're going to gather some OSPF packets off the network. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to minimize my command prompt here. There's my notes and everything in the background. Okay, all right. I'm going to launch Wireshark. It looks like a little shark fin. I'm going to launch this. I'm going to slide this over this way a little bit so we can see better. When it launches, I should see any kind of interfaces that are on my system that are there. I'm going to find my Ethernet 3. It should be listed here somewhere. I'm going to look for Ethernet 3. And I'm just going to double click on that. I can highlight it and click the little shark fin if I want to, or I can just double click it. And it's going to start showing any packets that are coming in on the Ethernet 3 interface is what it's going to do. So we're going to try to let that run for a little bit, and we actually want to look for, hopefully, some OSPF packets. There we go. There's an OSPF packet. So we're going to let just a couple come in, just enough that we can see it off the network. There's a couple. There's a couple hello packets. That's all we really need. We don't need too many more. So I'm gonna stop there. I can let it run if I want to, but I'm going to stop. And I'm just going to put a filter up here, OSPF. It only shows me the OSPF packets. That filters out all the other stuff. So I have some like 2 OSPF packets here that are hello. We're going to open these guys. Well, I'm going to highlight this. And down here in the middle, it actually shows the contents of that. Here's the Ethernet header. Here's the IP header. Here's the OSPF header. I'm going to open up the IP header and look at the source and destination IP address. The source is the loopback link local on the router, and the destination, that right there, FF02. FF02 is a multicast in Ipv6 world. So that's our multicast address for OSPF to multicast to the other routers. So that's our multicast. And if I actually come up here and look at the Ethernet header, I will see the destination MAC is a Ipv6 multicast as well. That's what we see going on up there. So there's my OSPF packet, but my IP header. That's the piece I wanted you to look at in here. That's what's significant about that address as you look at it. That's an Ipv6 multicast. All right, well, we're going to look at some more packets, but while we're here, we're going to save these. We're going to save these packets from Wireshark. We can save these, and we can always open them up and look at them later. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to, in Wireshark, I'm going to do File, Export Specified Packets. So in other words, just the ones we've captured. I'm going to point to, you can point to the desktop so you can get your file. I'm going to point to my directory that I had here. I'll go to my CNT. Actually, I'll go to the desktop. That's fine. I'll go like you guys do here. And I'll give it something like OSPF, Ipv6, packet capture. Something like that. So I know what these are. I'm going to leave this file extension alone, this pcapng. We're going to leave that alone. I'm going to down here say all packets that are displayed, because we filtered out. We just want the displayed ones, and then I'll say save, and that's going to go to my desktop. Let me see if I can find it out here real quick. There it is right there, and it shows a little shark fin on. That's a Wireshark package or a Wireshark file. Any system that has Wireshark installed, you can open that up and see those packets at a later time. So you're going to save that, so I know that you looked at the Ipv6 OSPF packets. That's what that's going to show me. Well, we're not done with Wireshark. We also want to look at some Ipv6 pings in our network. So in here in Wireshark, I'm just going to close it. I won't save anything. And then I'm going to reopen it. And I'm going to do a new capture. So in here again, I will highlight my Ethernet 3 once it shows up. We'll give it a second. Here's my Ethernet 3 right there. We're going to open that. I'm now going to open my command prompt, and I'm going to reissue this ping that I did previously. I might have had a trace up there, but I'm going to ping to that other PC. So I'm going to ping to the other PC in the network, and what that should be doing is generate some IPv6 ping traffic. So we're going to stop this, and just like before, here's my pings that I did. I did the pings. We're now going to look for some ICMP traffic up here. So I'm going to put a filter in here. I'll do ICMP. And I want to do, ICMP is version 4. I want to do ICMP version 6. So we will apply that we only see ICMP version 6 traffic. So we now see the ping requests and the replies that we did. Ping request, reply, ping request, reply. So I'm going to pick a request here. It doesn't really matter which one, but I'm going to highlight one of those. I'm going to look at the contents of the packet here in the middle. Here's the Ethernet header. Destination, the source of Dell, destination was the Cisco router because it's going through the network to a node on the other side. Here's the source IP and the destination IP. Well, let's open up this header here. The source address FC00A:A:A, that's the PC I'm on right now. The destination address FC00A:A:C, that's the PC on the other side of this network. That's the PC on the other side of this network that I'm trying to get to. And then here's my ICMP version 6 header. And if I actually open up the data down here, here's the actual data that's being sent. That's the hexadecimal version here, and here's the text version here. It's sending copies of the ASCII table, the alphabet. All right, so as I look here, source address, destination address. My PC to the PC on the other side. All right, there is my ICMP version 6 packets. Again, we're going to save these. We're going to save these as proof that you looked at some ICMP version 6 traffic on the network. So I will do File, Export Specified Packets. Here I will call this, what did I call this here? ICMP version 6 packet capture. And I will leave this pcap-ng file extension alone. All packets that are displayed. I will save that to the desktop as well. And again, if I come out here, I will see there is the ICMP packets. It's a little Wireshark file. Oh, get up there. There's the ICMP packets right there. So these, if I have Wireshark installed, I can open that and view those packets that were just captured. All right, I can close this out. I don't really need that open for anything else, so I can just close that. Now I've looked at some ICMP traffic or IP version 6 traffic in my network. What I want to do at this point is I just want to gather my configs, my 2811 and my 4221. And I do want to gather my Windows workstation settings as well. So I'm going to close out. Let me do this guy right here. I'm going to open up my PuTTY. And on my 2011, I will do a show run. And I'm going to copy all this config. I will scroll up here. So I will highlight this. And I will do a Control-C. I'll open up my notepad. I'm going to open up a new file here. I'll paste that in, and I'm going to call this my... I have this going into my 125 IP version 6 folder. So I'm going to call this my 2811 IP version 6 config.txt. I'm going to move my console cable to the other router. So let me move that down here. And I'm going to do the same thing. Enable, show run. I'm going to highlight all this as well. And this will be my 4221. Control-C. Notepad, I will say File New. Paste it in. I will save this guy. I will call him the 4221. 4221 IP version 6 config. There we go. So I have the two routers. The only thing left is I do want to gather the IP address config of both workstations. So I'm going to minimize my PuTTY here. in my command prompt, I'm going to do an ipconfig, and I really just want this Ethernet 3 part. That's all I really want. So I'll highlight the Ethernet 3, and I want to see the IP version 6 in the gateway, the FC address that you assigned, the FC address that you have assigned. So we will do I'm going to hit enter here. That'll copy that. I will open up another notepad. I will paste that in, and I will call this like PC1, Windows PC1 config or something like that. Windows PC1 Ipv6 config. .txt. Save. I will need to do this on the other PC. So I will need to go do this on my other workstation. And when I'm done, I will need to like submit that file separately or get it to my Google Drive or something that I have that. Because right now it'll be, stranded over on the other side of my network. But I do want to gather that as well. So I'm going to pause here in just a couple minutes. And I'm going to go do the other PC, and then I'll save that file. All right, so I get both my routers. I have my Windows PC. I need to go get the other Windows PC. And I'm going to double check that I have everything before I erase. So I'm going to make sure I'm going to go to my folder here. I should have the routing table. Here's the routing table. I should have my 2 packet captures. Well, I'm going to grab that off my desktop and put them in my folder here. Okay, there's my 2 packet captures. A routing table. Here's my 2 packet captures. I need my 2 configs, the 2011 and 4221. There they are. I need my Windows PC 1. There it is right there. And I'll need to go to my other PC and get that one here in a minute. So I'll get that one. The only thing left there are a couple questions here on IP version 6. Save those and submit those as well. Number 1 here, are there classes of IP version 6 addresses? This is not a trick question. In IP version 6, we had classes of addresses. Do we have the same thing in, actually in IP version 4, we had classes of addresses. In IP version 6, do we have the same thing? Number 2, first half of the address in IP version 6. Second half of the IP address in IP version 6. And then these right down here, FF02, you saw that in the packet capture. And FC00 that we've been using, what's significant. So go back to chapter 3, and or just a little bit of Google will help you with all of those guys. Gather those and save those, and then you will have the last file you need. So this time we have like 8 files by the time we're done here. Routing table, 2 packet captures, your 2 configs, your 2 PCs, and then some workstation or some review questions. And that is your IP version 6 lab.